Hey guys, it's Natasha and welcome back to Animal Amazement. On this episode, we're looking at ants. Ants are actually some pretty incredible insects. Many people believe that a single ant isn't actually very smart and that it's a hive intelligence that leads them, but individual ants are actually really good learners and they can share their knowledge, and it's usually the smartest ant in the group who's the leader. For example, when searching for a new home, the older, more experienced ants will go in first and check the place out, and if enough of them like it, then the colony will move in. Speaking of homes, an anthill is actually like a tiny little ant city with ventilation systems that circulate fresh air and remove carbon dioxide, sewage systems that drain ant waste into specific chambers where they are recycled, and even little roads and highways. Millions of ants live in these homes, so they've found a way to live and work together. One of the most fascinating things that they've mastered in their cities is agriculture, which they discovered about 30 million years ago following a dramatic shift in climate. In contrast, humans discovered agriculture about 12,000 years ago. Ants throughout the Americas and the Caribbean farm a specific type of fungus in little underground gardens that are sustainable, efficient, and disease and pest resistant. Leafcutter ants will go out and collect a specific type of leaf that they use to nourish and cultivate their fungi. These underground garden chambers are usually located in dry, inhospitable locations, so the fungus can't survive on its own. It also can't escape. So over the years, it's evolved to be completely codependent with its little ant farmers. These fungi are also never found in the wild. And the ants rely on their crops so much that when the daughter of the queen goes off to start her own colony, she will take a piece of her mother's fungal garden with her to start her own farm. So how do they keep their farms disease and pest free? They produce a natural antibiotic that acts as a pesticide in the battle against these parasitic fungi who act as a threat to their crop. They also keep their garden chambers completely spotless. But the agricultural feats of ants don't stop with their amazing farming abilities. They also keep and raise livestock in the form of aphids. Aphids are little bugs that like to drink the nutrients from plants, and they secrete a sweet fluid called honeydew. The ants will shepherd their little herds of aphids to other plants, and they'll even protect them from the rain and will fight off predators like ladybugs. And sometimes they'll even carry the aphids over from one plant to the other. In order to domesticate them, the ants will sometimes bite off their wings so they can't fly away, and they'll release a chemical that'll make them more docile and slow them down. Just like how we milk and eat our cows, the ants will milk the aphids by rubbing them with their antenna so that they secrete honeydew, and they will sometimes eat the aphids. The ants will also care for the aphids' eggs like their own, and they'll keep them safe in their colonies for the winter. I mentioned before that when a young queen leaves and starts her own colony, she will take a piece of her mother's fungal farm with her. Well, when a young dairy ant queen goes off on her mating flight, she will take an aphid with her to her new home. Ant colonies are also really great at dealing with infection. When an epidemic breaks out, they practice both vaccination and isolation. Forager ants are more likely to come into contact with diseases because they're out in the open, and when they do, they'll usually isolate themselves and distance themselves from other workers. And then the nurse ants that are inside the nest will move the brood deeper into the nest, and the forager ants will also avoid going into the nest as much as possible. Ants also practice basic hygiene. They clean themselves and each other before entering a nest. They disinfect a new home before they move into it, and they remove waste and dead ants from their colonies. Ants infected by parasites will be groomed and will groom themselves a lot more often, but If the infection has gone too far, the ant will be killed to prevent the parasite from completing its life cycle and to prevent the disease from spreading. Another really impressive ant trait is their ability to navigate. They use a lot of different cues to form their navigational systems, including the position of the sun, polarized light patterns, a gradient of smells, slope, texture, and a lot of other things. They have different modules dedicated to different navigational tasks. So one module will keep track of the visual scenery surrounding them. Another module will keep track of the distance and direction traveled. And another module helps them backtrack if they end up in an unfamiliar place. Ants are also altruistic. They have been known to help a fellow ant who gets stuck, even if the situation is dangerous for themselves. Finally, ants have developed a pretty complex language using pheromones, sound, touch, and body language. They use their antenna to pick up messages on topics ranging from the activities of their colonies to territorial conquest. So I hope you enjoyed learning about these amazing creatures. Please like if you did, subscribe if you're not, and join me next week for another animal amazement video.